rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events, this is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. Another new week. Artemis 2 has officially broken the long-distance record, and they went around, or are going to go around, if I recall correctly. They're on their way around the moon right now, so, yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Sorry, I'm a space buff. I like the space buff, okay? But anyway, yeah. Let's see. What is tonight? What is tonight? Tonight is Ms. T. Ms. T is up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. If you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Ms. T as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and of course I thank you, Ms. T, for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the Pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the Pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. And then address that email to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. I've got 23 of these at like 26 by the end of 2026. So if you haven't sent yours in, please do so. And if you do it on your phone, you can use the share option. That's the S-H-A-R-E, share option. And send it in to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. Tonight's headline sponsor, I'm wearing one of their fabulous shirts. Right now I'm wearing the good old red, white, and blue. Yes, it's been sunny enough, by the way, for the area that I'm in. It's been sunny enough, and it's supposed to be sunny enough for all this week. So I have the flags. I have a alternating pattern of the current flag and the Betsy Ross flag, all, of course, in celebration of the 250th anniversary across the front of my property. So there you go. All right, folks. If you want to dress like me in patriotic styles, like I do for the show, you need to head on over to theflagshirt.com. That's theflagshirt.com. And you need to go and check out all of their styles, men's, women's, kids, made in the USA, all kinds of accessories in the good old red, white, and blue, along with other patriotic symbols and other stuff. I personally like the men's cotton polos. I wear one almost, if not every show. Pretty close to it. And you can get yours by heading over to theflagshirt.com. Right now, they are running a promo where if you spend $100, you get $20 off by using the code PATRIOT2026. That's PATRIOT2026 in the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. And if you spend $100, you'll get $20 off with that code, PATRIOT2026. That's PATRIOT2026. Go and check out their America's 250th anniversary collection that they've got going on. They've got some fantastic T-shirts, and it looks like they have a polo in there. Oh, my goodness. I love my polos. Anyway, I'm going to go and check those out, but also, keep in mind that if you maybe, you don't want to spend $100, I get it. Not everybody can spend it all at once, and maybe you only find one or two styles that actually really suit you. And that's okay too. But I'm going to help you out. If you go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, that's flagshirt.americanperspective.online, you will be presented with a coupon code. And you copy and paste that coupon code into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com, and you'll get $5 off your order. So you basically have a choice. You head on over to flagshirt.com. You got a choice of two possible ways to save. Either by going to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, getting that coupon code, putting it in the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com and giving yourself $5 off your order on American Perspective. Or if you spend $100 with them and use the code Patriot2026, that's Patriot2026, you'll get $20 off your order with that code. So you got two ways to save here. Head on over to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. All righty. Well, before I get to tonight's topic at hand, I just want to point out that if you're not American right now, and by American, I mean like red-blooded American, and you're not sitting there just absolutely ecstatic and celebrating the fact that we got our second pilot, our weapons system officer, also known as the Rio, or the Gib, 1B, guy in back. Anyway, so yeah, that we've got him back in our hands. Oh my gosh, what a story. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But first, I want to tell you that Donald Trump has decided to stick his fingers into the pie, the gubernatorial pie in California. And he has decided to endorse, what's this guy's name? What is the one that he's endorsing? Yeah. Steve Hilton. That's who it is. I couldn't remember who it was, but Steve Hilton is the one that he has endorsed. Let's just say, I don't know if Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco was very pleased about that, but, it is what it is. Steve Hilton has Trump's endorsement. Now, is that really going to make a difference getting Trump's endorsement? Well, up until recently, I would say that would have been like almost the kiss of guarantee, but the last several elections that we've had where Trump has said this, it really doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, if anything at all. And there might be enough never-Trumpers in the Republican Party out there that, he might have just given Steve Hilton the kiss of death, which would not be good. One of the advantages that is occurring in California, and I'm not going to say one of the advantages that we have, but one of the advantages that the Republicans have in the California gubernatorial race is that it is a top two primary, meaning that once the primary is over, the top two vote getters move on to the election. And so it's actually possible, don't know about the likelihood, but it is actually possible that you could have two Republican candidates going to the general election. Now, this is part of the problem. I'm just going to lay it out for you. This is part of the problem with the idea of having multiple parties, multiple political parties. Because what usually ends up happening is you have one, let's call it political affiliation, that sometimes will get separated because, of course, you have the Democrats, this is an example, You have the Democrats, you have the Green Party, you have the Libertarians, you have the, socialists, you have the not-so-socialists, and so on and so forth. When you have multiple parties like this, what ends up happening is you're diluting one side of the political spectrum. So, in other words, the left side, we'll call it, is a spectrum that encompasses, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 political parties. And if you have all the candidates from each one of those parties involved, well, each one is going to get less of the total vote. Same thing with the Republicans. If the Republicans have like a whole crap ton of people in the vote, then you're only going to get a small portion, if any at all, for any one given candidate. And so what ends up happening is you're diluting, in this particular case, we have 2 Republicans and 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, well, 3 front runner Democrats right now. I think there's 4 or 5 Democrat candidates that are actually in that part of the world. And so what's happening here is the Democrats are actually diluting their vote, which is a positive for the Republicans. But now that President Trump has said, hey, Steve Hilton is my guy, well, we'll have to see what's going to happen moving forward with this. I mean, 61 individuals appear on the official certified list of candidates competing for California's governor's office. There's clearly no front runner, but of the front runners is Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco, Tom Steyer, Eric Swallowswell, and Banger of Fangfanger, and Katie Porter, Representative Katie Porter. Those are the ones that are there, that are in the top. Now, that being said, when you look at that kind of thing, look at the polling. 15% and 16%, I think, are the top 2 runners right now. Again, it dilutes, having so many, it dilutes the overall vote catching capability of any one individual candidate. So, yeah, we're just going to have to see what's going to happen here. I mean, let's face it, the president's, even outside of MAGA, okay, outside of the diehard Trump is the guy, okay, outside of that group, Trump's approval ratings are pretty low. In fact, it's the Democrat Party that is just lower than him in all kinds of recent polling that they've had. And while most of us who are Trump supporters sit here and say things like, well, he's not perfect, but he's the perfect guy for the job for today, there are a lot of people out there who are they're not happy with necessarily not happy with his performance. I personally, I'm about an 80%er, just a rough grab the number right out of the air kind of guy at this point. I mean, I'm good with about 80% of what he's doing. 20%'s kind of like, I know you're not going to be able to get over that or get through with that one, but okay, it was fun. It's going to be fun to watch you try kind of scenario. So anyway, but yeah. Quite a few people in the gubernatorial race, but I doubt all of them. And let's be honest, they can only have the top 2 go. So good on them for having a bunch of Democrats. Good on them. I'm just saying. Clap. Oh, I could go and give an applause. But anyway, so that kind of scenario that's down in California that does open up a possibility of us having, or California, I should say, having no other choice but one, and that is one political party, and that is Republican. I would love to see that happen, to be honest with you. I would love to see that to where they have no other choice but Republicans on the ticket. Anyway, I thought I'd bring that to you because, again, it's a matter of, well, how receptive is that going to be? All right. So I have another article here, and of course, when we're talking about birthright citizenship, I know, birthright citizenship, everybody's like, oh, can we get rid of this? Well, I do have something on that a little bit later, but this is not a necessarily a birthright citizenship scenario. However, if this Chinese American had been given U.S. citizenship from illegal alien parents, birth tourism, yeah, this would be a bit of a problem. Epoch Times headline, Chinese American pleads guilty after attempting to take trade secrets to China. Well, let's just put it this way. The Chinese have been stealing intellectual property from America and our universities and business partners and so on and so forth. They've been doing it for decades. I mean, where do you think they get a lot of their ideas? It's certainly not making them up on their own. They're getting them from other sources. They're bringing them in. I'm not saying all of them, but many of the things that China is doing has been stolen from other countries. It's just the way they work. They send their people here. They send their people here to go to our schools to, learn about stuff, to sit in our research facilities and everything else. And what do? We let them in. Well, this whole birthright citizenship thing is going to make that even harder for us to prevent. But I digress on that part. So U.S. Attorney Ryan Kriegshauer said that intellectual property theft causes U.S. companies across numerous sectors to lose billions of dollars a year. And this Chinese man, who is a naturalized U.S. citizen, pleaded guilty after trying to board a flight carrying trade secrets from his Kansas-based employer to China, according to federal prosecutors. He pleaded guilty to one count of making a false statement, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Kansas, on April 1st. According to prosecutors, he's a naturalized U.S. citizen from China, was a resident of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He worked for a Wichita-based aviation company as a senior material and process engineer, which gave him access to confidential data and proprietary information. The company reported him to the FBI in 2018 after he displayed suspicious behavior during a work trip to China, according to prosecutors. In September of 2019, this guy was stopped by Customs and Border Protection agents at an airport in Dallas before he could board a plane bound for China. When asked by the agents, he initially made a false claim that he didn't have any work-related information on the thumb drives and the laptop that he was carrying at the time. He later changed his claim after agents examined the electronic devices and found documents from his employer labeled proprietary and confidential. And this was including graphs and blueprints related to the company's aviation work. According to prosecutors, he subsequently said that he was authorized by his employer to have those documents. Prosecutors then said the company later confirmed that his statement was false and that he was not authorized to have those documents. Now, according to the plea agreement, the proprietary data on the electronic devices was estimated to be worth between $95,000 and $150,000. He faces up to 5 years in prison, a $250,000 fine, and 3 years of supervised release, according to the plea agreement. His sentencing is scheduled for July 23rd. Now, he was a naturalized citizen here, people. He's naturalized. He was naturalized. He should be, after this, he should have his citizenship revoked. And I'm sure the State Department probably already has the papers already drawn up and are ready to be signed. Because they should. They should. All right, well, moving to the international desk fairly quickly here. Iran apparently has rejected the latest ceasefire proposal from the Trump administration. He communicated this response through Pakistan, signaled that it was unwilling, meaning Iran, was unwilling to accept a temporary pause in the hostilities. Now, they were trying for like a 45-day pause, and then that kind of got whittled down to like 15. So, I don't know what the heck's going on there. I don't know why they would be asking about that, but I mean, I would be like, yeah, you want to give me 45 days where you're not pounding the crap out of me? Sure. Anyway. But instead, Iran is insisting on a permanent end to the conflict, along with guarantees that they won't be attacked again. Yeah. Iran communicated this response through Pakistan, signaling that it is unwilling to accept a temporary pause. The head of Iran's diplomatic mission in Cairo said in remarks to the Associated Press, "We won't merely accept a ceasefire. We will only accept an end to the war with guarantees that we won't be attacked again." Well, that's pretty easy. Surrender unconditionally. And there you go. I mean, there you go. Hey, we'll surrender unconditionally if you guys back off, don't attack us anymore. We'll give up our thoughts of having a nuclear weapon. Yeah, we'll become a Democrat or a democratic state, not a Democrat state. They're already pretty damn close to Democrat state anyway. We'll become a democratic state. We'll give up this idea of world domination via religious practice or whatever. Yeah, sure. That ain't never going to happen. Trump gave the best line ever in response to this. He goes, they just don't want to say uncle. They don't want to cry, as the expression goes, uncle, he said, but they will. And if they don't, they'll have no bridges. They'll have no power plants. They'll have no anything. He goes, I won't go further because there are other things that are worse than those two. Oh, the Democrats took that and they're like, oh my God, war crimes. Ro Khanna was on I saw a video clip of him. He was on some Sunday show, some POS Sunday show. And he was saying, oh yeah, we're absolutely gonna impeach the president if we get into power in the House. And if we get the Senate, we may actually get him removed. I don't think they've really fully grasped the concept. They've been all over the social media. They've been talking about use the 25th Amendment. Do they not realize that if they remove Trump, they're going to have Vance in charge? And I don't know about you, but I seem to recall during the whole lead up to the election, there was a lot of resistance to Vance. I mean, a lot of resistance to Vance. And he hasn't even been in office long enough, by the way, for them to even bother to impeach him. So, I don't know. Maybe this would be the way to go. I'm not saying for Trump to get impeached, okay? I'm not saying that he needs to get impeached and removed from office. I'm just kind of joking that I don't think Democrats seem to have this problem. Their biggest problem is they never ask the question, okay, and then what? They never ask what's beyond whatever is in front of them. Okay? They do not bother to ask what happens after X or after Y or after Z. So it's just, I don't know if they've quite realized that, hey, you know what? If we lose Donald Trump, then we get Vance. Now think about this. If Donald Trump can last, even so far as it takes them, so he's what, about a year into his term, year and a half into his term? Okay. So he's about a year and a half into his term. By the time they get done with the impeachment and the removal process, I'm betting it'll be past the 2-year mark. So Vance will be in office for, whatever's left of Trump's administration, and by constitutional law can be elected twice past that. So there's a possibility if they were to remove Trump for whatever reason, there's a possibility that J.D. Vance could be in for 10 years. 10 years. Wow. Yeah, just think about that. Now I'm being told by my unofficial producer, who's the math whiz, that Trump is 15 months into his administration. So once he goes through and gets past the 2-year mark, then whatever is left on his term, J.D. Vance could serve that out and then potentially get elected twice more for a total of 10 years in the White House. Historically unprecedented, except for FDR's, obviously 4-term run. But anyway, yeah. I don't think the Democrats have really thought that through. Anyway, don't tell them. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're obviously back to Iran. We're obviously looking at potentially getting this done. Now, keep in mind that deadline is approaching. The deadline that Donald Trump did say that it was, hey, you guys need to open up the Strait of Hormuz. You need to stop this. Otherwise, we're going to be pounding the crap out of you. And he's already called out, we're going to take out your bridges. We're going to take out your electrical systems. We're going to take out all kinds of stuff. Now, if they target a bridge that is 100% used for civilian use and is not or cannot be used for military purposes, which, let's be honest, in Iran, that's a little hard. That's a little bit of a stretch. But if they could do that, then, or if the U.S. were to hit it, then there would be somewhat of a plausible question as to whether or not there is a potential war crime on the ballot. But yeah, as of right now, no, there's no war crime. It would be hard to prove that. Anyway. Well, if you are a senior commander in the Revolutionary Guard or any other kind of bigwig, yeah, you've got a target as big as the size of Texas on your back. And apparently there was an attack also this weekend that Israel took care of, that Israel attacked, and 2 senior commanders were killed in the attack. Now, Israel went and attacked Iran's South Pars natural gas fields, the world's largest. It was also shared with GETTR, targeting a major source of the country's revenue. So don't be too surprised if we end up taking Karg Island. I mean, honestly, I honestly can't imagine why we haven't already done it, but Trump must be attempting, diplomacy first. Speaking of Trump and diplomacy, as I said in the beginning, if you are a red-blooded American today, you should be rejoicing. This is the stuff that movies are seriously made of. I don't know how many people really fully comprehend the situation that this airman was in and the situation that took us to go and get him. Now, there's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of information that has come out. Apparently, we destroyed a couple of our own airplanes because they got stuck in the sand over there during part of the mission, and 2 more were sent in their place. And apparently some helicopters or some other equipment was also left behind, but not left behind in the Joe Biden sense where it was still usable. But this guy, this airman, man, his story, somebody's going to be making a movie out of this. Whether it's the Daily Wire or Hollywood, I don't know, but somebody's going to be making a movie out of this. I mean, just think of Lone Survivor and this. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next, 5 years or so, maybe 10 on the outside, that we don't have Rescued in Iraq or 48 Hours or whatever. I mean, man, I got to tell you, that's one promise that America has had for the real Americans, I'm not talking about the Joe Bidens of the world who killed 13 soldiers and then watched his watch as their bodies were coming home. I'm not talking about the Clintons, where she is sitting there when our people were being killed in Benghazi. Well, what difference at this point does it make? Or any of those others. I mean, I just can't imagine. I don't think anybody outside of somebody who may have been in that situation or at least adjacent to it, from, say, an advantage point, meaning that they've been in the military, how much that red, white, and blue flag catches you in your heart when it shows up. Because just think about this. This guy gets blasted out of his plane. And believe me, being ejected is no picnic. But he gets blasted out of his plane. He ends up behind enemy lines in enemy territory. Now, reportedly, the enemy territory that he landed in is actually unfriendly, not only to the Americans, but also unfriendly to the regime in Iraq. So he actually had people who were hoping to stymie the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps from finding him. But at the same time, his training kicked in. His, they call it SEER, survival, evasion, resistance, and I can't remember what the last E is. But anyway, he survived out there. And of course, he can't sit there and continuously transmit a homing beacon or anything, because the Iranians would have picked that up as well. So he ended up, apparently, according to reports, he ended up only transmitting it a few times, And reportedly, he also radioed the words, "God is good," which, of course, threw everybody a little off kilter. They were wondering, there was some question as to whether or not this guy had been captured, and they were setting a trap for him. But yeah, apparently the CIA, according to this report in Fox News, apparently the CIA also got their deceptive tactic in play, because they started spreading the word throughout Iran through multiple different sources that U.S. forces had already found the guy and were moving him out of Iran via a maritime exfiltration. And that was, of course, designed to buy some time for them to actually locate him. The CIA picked up a distress signal, passing the intelligence on to the Pentagon and the White House, which ordered an immediate rescue mission, according to the sources. Apparently, it was SEAL Team 6 that went in with Delta Force waiting in the wings in the backup. So, yeah. Anyway, part of the time that it took apparently was that they were worried about whether or not the incoming beacon signal was actually an Iranian trap. And so they had to confirm that first before they actually sent people out there. And once the CIA confirmed on Saturday morning that it was not a trap, that the missing airman was located using advanced technical capabilities. Yep. And, yeah. Within 8 hours, the source said, they had planes in motion. Within almost 12 hours, they were on the ground in Iran. Quote is, we've seen before what they do with prisoners. We're going to expend every effort, or we were going to expend every effort to make sure that we got to him first. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think, realistically, you would have had the same kind of determination from any other administration other than the Trump administration to get him back in this kind of a scenario. See, sitting there and telling your people, hey, if something happens, you need to remember, we will be coming for you. We will get you home. It means a lot. It means a lot to a battlefield soldier, airman. See, what sets us apart, and by us, I mean Americans, is that the real red-blooded Americans, we have an indomitable spirit. We have an indomitable spirit and a will to do anything that is required in order to ensure that our people come back home. Those who are not a part of that indomitable spirit, i.e. Hillary Clinton, i.e. Bill Clinton, i.e. Barack Obama, i.e. Kamala Harris, i.e. Timmy Walz. And yes, I am calling out all these stupid-ass Democrats because I guarantee you none of them would have expended the amount of resources necessary in order to bring that man home. Biden probably wouldn't even be aware of the fact that the guy was down. He would have been otherwise preoccupied with, who knows, maybe ice cream or pooping in his pants. And of course, proclaiming that his butt's been wiped. Anyway. So Trump, of course, announced on Truth Social on Sunday morning. Says, we have rescued the seriously wounded, really brave F-15 crew member officer from deep inside the mountains of Iran. The Iranian military was looking hard in big numbers and was getting close. Now, reportedly, one of the search parties was actually coalescing, and by that I mean the Iranian search parties, was actually coalescing at the foot of the 7,000-foot mountain that this airman, again, seriously injured, concussion, reportedly maybe he had a broken ankle or something along those lines, crawled up this mountain and was able to evade capture and wait for the rescue. Now, keep in mind the fact that we even pulled this off and that we have taken away that we took away the possibility of a propaganda piece. I mean, seriously, Iran would have paraded him throughout the streets. Alive or dead, they would have sent photos and video and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff to try and demoralize our troops and any resistance to the regime. And yet here we are, the Americans, quietly going about our business. Reportedly, there was even going to be a press conference. Right after the plane was shot down, there was going to be a press conference. After they picked up the first survivor, they were going to announce it. And they were like, you know what? No, we're not going to do this big announcement because we don't know where the other guy is and we're still going to look for him. And so they postponed a big press conference for him because they didn't want to give any information that the Iranians would absolutely know. So that the Iranians would have no way of triangulating his position or even talking about where he was at. This was a masterful, pulled off campaign to go and get our guy home. And trust me, if you're not sitting here beating your chest going, man, that's America right there. Yeah. You obviously don't love this country. You definitely don't love the soldiers that are involved, the soldiers and airmen and military members and whatever else. Yeah. You're not a red-blooded American. That's all I got to say about that. All right. Oh, let's talk about, hang on just a second. Come on. Let's talk really quickly about the ability for you to be able to tip me directly, super chat directly. Because here's a little inside scoop that many creators are talking about behind the scenes, okay? And it's actually one of the reasons that I use Rumble. They've made a way that's to super chat creators so that we get paid immediately without any fees. YouTube and Twitch, some others, can take up to 50% of the fees when you tip creators. This particular method takes none. That's right. The Rumble platform takes zero fees. I keep nearly 100% of what you send me through this method. And what's cool is you can super chat with either Bitcoin, Tether USD, or even Tether Gold stablecoins. It's called Wallet. The tip will show up directly in the Rumble chat, which, of course, as you know, whenever somebody does something like that, I do my best to read them. So all you need to do in order to be able to access this method is to download the Rumble wallet on the App Store and then go ahead and send tips to your favorite creators. You can also go to wallet.rumble.com. That's wallet, WALLET.rumble.com, and to get more information about it. Or, as I said, download the app directly from the app stores. That's wallet.rumble.com, wallet.rumble.com, or download the app directly from the app stores. Seriously, this is an amazing way to get rid of the middleman and help the creator economy. Go to wallet.rumble.com or download the app directly and start tipping your favorite creators today with giving them as much money as is possible. No fees on top of it. Shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology. Once again, go to wallet.rumble.com or download the app direct from the app stores and start tipping your favorite creators today. All right. Well, I don't know if anybody's noticed, well, Wisconsin in particular. Apparently there's some shady stuff happening up there. So, tomorrow, and let's see. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday, April 7th. There's going to be a big election in Wisconsin. There's a race apparently for an open seat on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. And Democrats, of course, are desperate not only to keep the court with a liberal majority, but they also want to be able to overturn Act 10, which is a union-busting legislation that was passed in 2011. They want to end school choice. They want to undermine President Trump's immigration efforts in the state. And all of this is possible if they were to be able to keep the court with a liberal majority, the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, of course. But there's some funny stuff going on with the ballots. For an example, some people have been mailed double ballots. Some people in Wisconsin have received double ballots. Duplicate mail-in ballots were received by several people, hundreds, in fact, in Green Bay, Wisconsin, as well as some other places like Racine and a few others. Yeah, they received a duplicate mail-in ballot late last week. And so you're sitting there and you're wondering, wait a minute. How is that possible for us to get a double ballot? How is it possible for us to get two ballots? Well, apparently they were sent out. They were sent to Wisconsinites. Like this person, David Baumgart. By the way, he mailed his absentee ballot back only to receive another one in the mail. Baumgart said to Town Hall, he goes, at first I thought did they get my ballot back and there was a problem? There's no explanation or anything. He goes, it was just obviously a second ballot. So I didn't send it in because I had already voted. So the city clerk, I'm assuming for Green Bay, City Clerk Celestine Jeffries told the media that letters were sent to absentee voters saying that if you've received two ballots, don't vote with both of them. Destroy one after you voted with one. And it's not an accident either. And it's not isolated to just Green Bay, apparently. So what the hell's going on? And you want to sit here and talk about, elections and mail-in ballots. Oh, mail-in ballots is, here in Washington, all I've been hearing from the Democrats here is, oh, no, mail-in balloting, 100% mail-in balloting. It's worked for us for years. Yeah. Yet some people have received duplicate ballots. I'm not saying here in Washington. I'm saying up in Wisconsin. Yeah. Yeah. So there's other people who were saying, yeah, it happened in Racine, Wisconsin too. There's no way, people. Mail-in balloting has got to quit. We need to stop it. Specific absentee ballots, okay, but this blanket mail-in system that a lot of Democrat states want to go to, that a lot of Democrat states or some Democrat states already have gone to, no, this needs to go. This is why the SAVE Act needs to be passed. Speaking of that executive order, there are Republicans that on the executive order that Trump signed, there are some Republicans that are worried that that's going to get overturned. I'm going to tell you right now, I would not be surprised if it isn't overturned because of the fact that it is, again, I just want to say I'm a strict constitutionalist. It is unconstitutional for Donald Trump to just basically say, hey, we're going to make our own voter rolls or anything else, because the Constitution clearly states the legislature, the state legislatures, and the Congress have the power in that. But other than that, though, I mean, there shouldn't be any reason why mail-in balloting isn't abolished with the SAVE Act. It's an 80-20 issue. Everybody wants voter ID. 80%, 83%, I think, of every single voter, or all the voters. That includes Democrats at 71%. Independents, I think, were the ones at 83%, and the Republicans are at 89%. Everybody wants it. I mean, this should be a no-brainer. And they're not doing it. Anyway. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. There is one word in the 14th Amendment that I honestly, and I think a lot of people honestly, have sort of glossed over. See, the 14th Amendment, and I know I've been talking about this a lot, but this is really, really big. The 14th Amendment states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, the arguments in front of the Supreme Court, the oral arguments, focused a lot on the Constitution, or on the 14th Amendment statement saying subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and the meaning behind that. But I don't think a lot of people really catch this small little word at the very end of that first clause, known as the Citizenship Clause. That word is reside. See, one of the arguments that John Sauer put in front of the Supreme Court had to deal with the fact that, hey, it's domicile. You know, because Wong Kim Ark had the word domicile, I don't know, something like 12 or 15 times in the opinion. And they kept going back and forth about the Wong Kim Ark decision and the words subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And you know, John Sauer kept saying, hey, we believe that you have to actually, you know, live here in a domicile. And this is part of the reason why, another reason that I'm chalking up to why I'm sitting here saying, well, John Sauer really didn't do a very good job with this. Because there's this word at the very end. And I thank the Federalist for bringing it to my attention. There's this word at the very end of the statement which says reside. Now, if we take a look at the word reside in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, take a look at this first, the first definition. Right there. Definition 1A for the word reside. It means to dwell permanently or continuously. Also, to occupy a place as one's legal domicile. So, in reality, the 14th Amendment, believe it or not, actually calls out 3 criteria to be a citizen. Not just 2, but 3. 1, all persons born within the United States. 2, that they are completely and wholly subject to the jurisdiction thereof, meaning that they are not attached to any foreign power. And 3, they must reside, meaning dwell permanently or continuously. Well, guess what? That isn't an illegal alien coming and jumping across the border, or this birth tourism crap that we have going on, thankful, or on the backs of, in example, the Chinese. Now, oftentimes somebody looks at the word and says, oh, you know, language changes and has changed over time. Language has changed over time. And so the word reside today may not be the same as back in 1866 when this was put forth. Now, I go back, all the way back to the Webster's Dictionary of 1828. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Bang. The word reside, meaning 1828, 40 years, 42 years ahead of when the 14th Amendment was written. What's that number one definition there? I'm showing it on screen, but what's that number one definition? Oh, to dwell permanently or for a length of time. To have a settled abode for a time. Yeah. So in other words, if you're an illegal alien who has only come here, temporarily speaking, or even if you are coming here on like a temporary visa, say a work visa or something along those lines, you automatically do not qualify as part of the 14th Amendment. Seriously. It's written right there. They are, again, let me read it. Let me read it for you. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they dwell permanently. There you go. There it is. Now, yes, I changed the word reside at the very end, but that's what it means. So, in other words, born or naturalized with no foreign connections, meaning no parents that have foreign connections, they are the citizens of the United States and the state in which they live permanently, which is why the Wong Kim Ark case is allowed to go through, because his parents were as close to naturalized citizens as they could possibly be with the laws at the time. Yeah. There we go. All right, really quickly in our final minutes, and actually I may even have to have our Australian contingent come back. Maybe I'll keep this. You know what? I am going to keep this. I'm going to keep this for this next article. I'm going to keep it for next time, I think, because I'd really like to know. I mean, obviously it's a pretty obvious thing, but I can't cover it in like 2 minutes. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to hang on to this. It's going to hold on for another short time. All right, folks. That being said, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget on your way out to hit those thumbs up, thumbs downs if you really want to, or, in the case of 3 Chevy, a thumb sideways. Across all my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.